if you want to describe an increase that happened very quickly, well, you can use adverbs such as quickly, swiftly, suddenly, rapidly, and sharply. But sometimes you want to describe an increase that didn't happen very suddenly over a short period of time, but rather it happened to a very great extent. It increased a lot, right? So it went from 5% to something like 80%. So relative to everything else we're seeing in the chart, this increase was greater. So how do we emphasize the great amount in the change, right? Not necessarily happening very quickly. It might have happened over thousands or hundreds of years, but what is important is that the increase was great in amount. How can we do that? What kind of adverbs can we use? Well, you could use adverbs like dramatically, significantly, or considerably. Right? So I hope you now understand the difference between saying something increased quickly versus saying something increased dramatically. All right? In both cases, we have an increase. In one, we're emphasizing the speed and how quickly the increase took place. And in another one, we're emphasizing how great a change has occurred over time. But what about the opposite? What if we want to describe how the change has occurred, but we're not emphasizing how quickly or how great the change has been, but rather we want to emphasize how the change has happened very slowly. All right? So as you can see, the first adverb we could use is slowly. But what else? We could also use gradually or gently. Or if we want to talk about an increase or a decrease that happened in a very small amount, right? It was very insignificant. What could we say? Well, we could say it increased slightly or it increased minimally. All right? These are the adverbs that you could use. There's one more adverb that I want to introduce to you, and that is whenever you're describing an increase or a decrease that wasn't very smooth and steady, but rather the change that occurred was kind of bumpy. So we had an increase, but instead of an increase like this, we have an increase that goes like this, up and down, but the overall trajectory is rising. Or the opposite, you have it going up and down, but the trend is downward. So what kind of adverb could we use there? Well, you could use a modifier like accompanied by fluctuation. How do we use this? I'll show you. So you could say something like the number of students increased accompanied by fluctuation, right? So it means it wasn't a smooth and steady rise, but rather it was a bumpy one. So there were a lot of ups and downs associated, right? So we've also seen the adverbs that you could use with these verbs. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor, like, subscribe, and share this link with other people who may find this content useful. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.